Hey, this is Danny Eni with Firepole Marketing, and you're listening to Stephanie O'Brien's Moved by Purpose podcast.
Are you longing to know what your purpose is? Are you on the wrong career path? Do you feel like there must be more to life? Don't worry, there's hope. It's time to be moved by purpose. Now your host, Stephanie O'Brien.
Hey, it is Stephanie O'Brien, your host with the Moved by Purpose podcast, and I want to thank you for dropping in and listening. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. First of all, this is episode 42, which is crazy that I'm 10 episodes away from a whole year. That's crazy to me. Exciting, and I'm going to plan a special episode on that day to go over kind of the big evolution and progression from my day one starting podcast all the way to the year. Talk about highlights, low points, significant learning lessons. So I'm excited about that one, but that's, 10 weeks away. So for today, I want you to bear with me. I am going to do this. I have prepped a little bit, but not extensively. So I am hoping that I do not ramble on because I haven't necessarily written a script. So I'm going to do the best out of my inspiration to contain myself and keep it together. One of the things that I am inspired to share with you today, first of all, I want to update you on what's going on with me personally. I am in the process of a move, so that has been a stressor in my life with that whole transition. I have tenants that came faster than expected, and they want occupancy January 1. And so I am in the process of packing up my house, and I still need to find a new place to live. So that's a fun process and a fun place to be. And I'm going on vacation December 25th through January 30th. For the holidays, I'll be in Miami. So, I need to be packed and have most of my stuff out by the 23rd, which means I need to have a place pretty set. Anyway, I don't want to think too much about it. I have been working really hard finding a place, but I might have to tentatively live with a friend for a couple weeks or a month until some of these places become available and open up, because a lot of what I've inquired about are not available until mid-January or February. So that's my saga in life, but all is well. All is well. And then the second thing, I really want to talk about the programs that are going on. I have a mastermind group. I have the Purpose Pursuit program that just opened up, that is still open for registration. And I have the Passion Project, which is now closed. And these groups I love. They're different. Well, there's 3 different groups serving the needs of people in different stages of the process of living out your calling. The Purpose Pursuit are for those that know they have a purpose, but they have no clue what that is. They want a meaningful, satisfying career. They want some sense of calling and contribution in their work and daily working activities. They know that if they got clear on that and started living that out and got paid as a bonus to do that, in alignment with that they would be much more fulfilled and satisfied overall in their life. So Purpose Pursuit is for that. And I am opening up the course or the group on December 16th for you to come join us free of charge. But I do have requirements for you. You need to email me that you are interested in joining us. And at the time that this episode airs, that's basically a day. So you have today. You have Monday, December 15th to email me and let me know. You'll have all day Tuesday. The call starts at 7 p.m. December 16th. So you'll also have that. You need to email me, and I will have a form to fill out. It's not going to take more than 15 minutes tops. Don't fret about not getting it completely. I just need general information to how I can serve you so you can get the maximum benefit and value of showing up and hopefully get you in the right direction of transforming your life into creating or doing work that you love. So you'll need to email me at Stephanie@movedbypurpose.net. You can fill out the contact form, and in the subject line, just say Purpose Pursuit. And then let me know, and I'll take care of you from there and give you the call information. Okay, so let's move on. Speaking of purpose and people that feel stuck and know what they want, I have encountered a number of people in my work and research and just working with people and studying this topic at length. People that feel stuck and seem to not be able to move forward where they want to, but they haven't gotten a satisfying or successful result. I say I'm going to talk about 3 reasons as to, maybe I'll try to limit it to 3. Or maybe even just talk about 2. I'm going to talk about the 2 primary reasons, and we'll see how we're doing for time as to why there seems to be black. I'm going to read this quote from Carl Sandburg, where he says, "There is an eagle in me that wants to soar, and there is a hippopotamus in me that wants to wallow in the mud." And I don't know about you, but I certainly can relate to that statement, where you're almost double, like you almost have a split personality. Your heart desires one thing, but then your mind takes you to other things. And it's like this big tension or tug of war, and it's exhausting. It takes up a lot of energy just to deal with that fight, and you're not getting anywhere. And that can be really discouraging and cause a really nasty, vicious cycle that can go on for years and years and years. And it is this kind of double-mindedness or this split desire thing that I believe is the reason why. Well, there's a lot more reasons why in the biblical story, but it also addresses that the Israelites wandered around in the wilderness for 40 years, and they were double-minded. And so how many of us feel like we're wandering around for 40 years, aimlessly wandering around, not getting to our promised land, or not getting to the result or the outcome that we desire? And here are some things that I see that keep people stuck or keep people trapped. And one of the big things is that they are stuck in their comfort zone, even though what is going on in their life is not healthy for them, it's not challenging them, they're not thriving in it, it's not bringing life to them, it's not good for them. They know they're settling, they know it's less than God's best for them, but they know it. They know it. It's predictable, it's certain, it's what they know. And so a lot of times they will cling to that comfort because they do not want to risk letting go. And I myself did that when I was facing a career change or the process. I was unhappy. I knew I didn't want to stay in the job I had. I knew I wasn't meant to. I knew I was meant for something more. And I would complain a lot, and other people would say, you should go back and get your master's, or do this, or have you thought about just switching agencies, or all kinds of things. And I didn't take any of those actions or do any of that because I intuitively knew that that wasn't a good fit for me. And I'm glad that I didn't. I'm not regretting that I didn't. But there was also a lot of fear in there with, what if I change careers and end up disliking it even more than I dislike this job? What if I go and it's more hours, I don't like the people, I don't get along with my boss, what about that? And so through the process, I ended up writing kind of a pros and cons list of all the good things that I like about my current job and then the things that I don't. And it was through that where I got the clarity of, I knew that getting a master's to go pursue the same field or just switch to a different agency wasn't the solution, and that I would be just as miserable. Where I actually liked my supervisor, I loved my team, I had flexible hours, I worked remotely, and I had a lot of wonderful perks that kept me in there for as long as I was there. but it just wasn't a good fit for me overall. And so my first suggestion for you is when you are in your comfort zone, write down the list of pros and cons, all the benefits that serve you in your current position, where you are. What do you like? Why are you still there? What's keeping you there? There's obviously some sort of benefit that's keeping you there. And then write the cons. What do you not like? What's causing discomfort? What's causing unrest? What is getting under your skin about this job? And then for the unknown, or the new beginning, the new uncharted waters, write down all of the benefits that could be if you do it. It could be greater freedom. It could be finally pursuing a dream you've always wanted to. It could be trying something new. It could be just stretching yourself and developing to be a stronger and better person. It could be finally pushing yourself to be the person you wanted to model to your children or family, or the person you've just always wanted to be. List all of those characteristics or benefits, and then list down the things that scare you about it, the things that are holding you back, the reasons or excuses or justifications as to why you haven't done it yet. Why haven't you taken action? What are the lies that you're believing? Most likely those are lies, by the way. And write that down so you can kind of take a look at it. I think doing this exercise is really powerful and really freeing, and it communicates a lot when you get that out of your head and you communicate back to yourself by what you wrote down on paper. And the comfort zone is a really big thing for me. And I just want to say, if you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to let go of ordinary living. Okay? If you are not willing to do that, then accept that about yourself. Realize then that that is a choice that you have made, and try to be okay with it. Okay? And I know that sounds a little bit, maybe a little harsh, but I'm going to be very direct with you, and I'm going to speak with you with great love, but also great truth. If you have any desire at all for an extraordinary higher life, and you ignore that, that is going to haunt you. That will torment you. You will have unrest, and you will probably die letting your gift that you are meant to live out for this world be buried with you. And that, my friend, is tragic. But because you're listening to this episode, and because you love Moved by Purpose and you desire a purposeful life, you are not that person that is going to settle for mediocrity, who's going to cling to their comfort zone. You, my friend, are not that. You are going to stretch yourself. You're going to grow. You're going to accept that there are things that you must do where you are not guaranteed an outcome. You could do something and epically fail. You could do something and try it, and it could end up being far harder than you ever thought it would. And had you known how hard it would have been, you might be telling yourself you would have never started. I have been there. Yes, I have. But you know what? Even though I may have said, if I knew that it was going to be this hard, I would have never done it. That's not true, because there are so many benefits to stretching yourself and in going out into the unknown and voyaging uncharted waters, that even though you may feel lost and in the middle of nowhere, you have gotten healthier and stronger and grown significantly, and you are living out a high potential, even if you're not seeing the immediate manifestation of your efforts yet. Even if it appears to be unfruitful, even if it appears to look like you have labored in vain, you have not. Your fruit or your harvest may not be what you have originally started out for, but trust me, there's fruit. A lot of times, since I am of faith, I believe God cares far more about your internal, emotional, and spiritual health and character, the person you are and the person you are becoming, more so than He cares about any type of successful business outcome, how comfortable and consistent your income may be, or anything else. Does he care about all those? Absolutely. But sometimes his best for us can often be worked out through a very difficult, challenging trial. But it's the fastest way and the best way to get you there. So you have to cooperate with the process. But you have to surrender and be willing to let go of that comfort zone. There are Kevin and Kay Marie Brenfleck. They are also career counselors and life calling coaches. And they wrote the book, Live Your Calling. And an excerpt from one of their articles is about living your calling. I'll read directly from the article, and it says, each time we blockade ourselves further within our comfort zone, it becomes more difficult to hear God's voice and callings in our lives. Living your calling is possible only when you are willing to be obedient to God's voice and risk stepping out to follow Jesus. Living the adventure of your calling requires courage, resourcefulness, and willingness to confront new and unfamiliar challenges. That's an accurate statement, and that nails the points I've been making home quite well. Okay, on to the next calling blocker. As Ken and Kay Brenfleck call it, a calling blocker. How you can confront this, a calling blocker is often through fear. You are afraid, like I said, afraid of risk, afraid of the unknown, afraid of change, the uncertainty. Another thing could be money, busyness, negative thinking, childhood wounds, and isolation from others. I have experienced all of these things and have seen most people that feel blocked or stuck, that those are the primary things that are causing them to stay trapped or stuck. Busyness and not having any margin in your life is a giant distraction. And to help you create margin, I'm going to recommend the book called Essentialism by Gregory McKeown. And I will make sure to have that link in the show notes for you to check out. Highly, highly, highly recommended. It is such a great book. I've listened to it on an audiobook and will repeat that for a number of times because there's just so much rich, valuable information on there. And it's all about priorities. This will help you determine what your priority is, what matters most to you, and how are you spending your time. And if you are spending your time on a bunch of stuff that is unrelated to what matters most to you, then you should stop doing that. Sounds like a simple concept, not easy to do. It is a simple concept, but definitely not easy to do. So yeah, that's one way to eliminate busyness. The first way I would recommend is to create margin. Check out the book Essentialism. Fear, big one. That's a whopper. That's like the number one thing that blocks people. That's a process to learn how to fight fear. My recommendation is to focus on what you do have. Focus on the good things that you have. Focus on how much you are loved by God. Focus on your blessings. Perfect love casts out all fear. So if you just start meditating on how much you are loved and valued by your Creator, that will cast out all your fear. The same thing, that same exercise, actually will also help you overcome negative thinking. It will also help you with some childhood wounds. There's a deeper process with that. I recommend for overcoming childhood wounds to look up spiritual. It's free. It's a healing type, a soul wound type healing process that a minister will walk you through called a SOZO. Bethel Christian Church does this. SOZO. You can maybe even contact them to see if there are any SOZO ministers in your area that will help you. I've done my own. It's extremely powerful. and very freeing. And once you go through the process, you can learn to just walk through it and do it on your own as well. So that's all I have for the childhood wounds. And then isolation from others. Yeah, that's a big one. If you're not connected in a community, especially plugged into a church or other like-minded individuals, you are not thriving. And you are not living your full life. So I highly recommend you to get plugged into a church, join a small group, go on meetup.com, find a like-minded interest group, and get going. Get plugged in. You are not meant to live alone. You are not meant to do life alone. And you can't live out your purpose and your calling by being isolated. So those are my suggestions for my steps that I highly recommend that you take for helping you to get unstuck. You must let go of your comfort zone, and the way that you can do that is by getting plugged into a community, meditating on the love of God has for you, reversing negative thinking. I do that by affirmations, meditating on what is lovely and good. When I start seeing myself going into a downward spiral, a depression, as I shared with you earlier on this episode, I'm not going through an easy time per se with having to pack up a house and having no clue where I'm going to be living. And I can get myself really worked up by that, by focusing on that. You know, when I focus on the obvious stressor, I just generate and create and reproduce and multiply a whole lot more stress. But when I focus on, there's plenty of people that have opened up their home to me. Worst case scenario, I have to crash with them for a couple weeks. Is it inconvenient? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. But I also know I'm not going to be homeless or living out of my car, and I am taken care of. I am well loved and I am well taken care of. So I focus on that. And it really helps push back on the negative thinking with more positive thoughts. And for the person that is listening who has, I get a lot of emails from people that have said, I've done this, I've done that, I've taken this assessment, I've taken this course, I've participated in this group, I've tried these things, and none of them seem to be working. These are people that cannot, for whatever reason, put it together. They cannot see the big picture. They see parts of it, but they don't see the overall big picture. They don't have the overall vision. It's very unclear to them, and they're in a really big fog. Perhaps this is you. Maybe you've taken a ton of assessments and inventories to find key components of your design, but you can't see yourself doing anything new. So because of that, because you don't have the vision or the big picture, or because you can't put the pieces of your puzzle together, you resist exploring options of how you might use your gifts in different career paths or ministries. So you procrastinate to the point of avoidance, or contemplate taking action when faced with specific action steps to investigate possibilities. So you are way overwhelmed, you're confused, and you're anxious, so therefore you cannot continue. And these are the people that I work with. So you're in luck if that is you and that resonates with you. That is why people hire me. I am a coach. I coach you through the process to gain clarity. And this is a process when you're in that situation that you can't do on your own and that you can't do by yourself. But there's resistance because you think that I'm not going to invest in a coach until I know what I need or know what I want, or I just don't want to face it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to do anything. And if that's the case, then admit that to yourself. Because the bottom line is, you are going to have to take some action that's going to be uncomfortable, that's not a guaranteed outcome, that's uncertain, and you are not going to know if it's going to be the right choice for you. Now, I'm never going to ask you to do something that stretches you so far to the point where you snap. but I will expect some action from you. Some action that goes beyond taking assessments and analyzing and taking even online programs. It's about action at this point. You have all the information you need, and you just need to move forward in any direction. It's okay if it seems like it's the wrong direction. You will be course corrected when you are moving. I have gone in many directions and many paths and have been rerouted and redirected when the path I chose, because I didn't really know what one, or it really wasn't that clear, but I just started moving and I just started doing and I just started exploring. That's how the clarity comes. You must be in motion and you must be doing, and you must be willing to be wrong, and you must be willing to fail, and you must also be willing to almost expect that you will fail. But you are not a failure, and that failure is not permanent. So anyway, I am done with my rant. See, this fires me up because I see this a lot, and it just really breaks my heart to see people choose to give in to overwhelm, confusion, and anxiousness. And I've been there. I totally have been there. I know. And let me give you a relevant experience of how I can relate. So I'm not just talking on my high horse and sounding a little harsh and judgmental for the people that feel like, well, I'm not wired like you. You take more risks and you're miss action and you're misdo, and I need more information than you. And okay, so that's your thought process. I understand that. So let me help you out here. With this move, I had no idea. And still, to the time of this recording, hopefully by the time this is live, that's different. But at the time of this recording, I know I have to be out of my house by January 1st. I actually have to be mostly packed up and moved out by the 23rd, actually, because of me going on vacation, because of holiday events and activities. And how much packing have I done? I know I need to pack. I know for certain that I'm leaving. I know for certain that I must be out. Here's the actions I've taken. I've asked other people if they could help me pack. I have arranged for storage. I have looked around extensively and researched quite a bit on where to live. But I actually have not begun the packing process. And I'm saying that to out my own self, but it is on my calendar to do today. I have packing boxes. I have a packing plan, and I will start packing up my office and decorations and things that I don't use on a regular and consistent basis that I'm not going to miss if it's packed away in a box for a few weeks. So that I will be doing tonight and for the rest of this week. But I had so much anxiety and so much overwhelm. I was paralyzed with fear and overwhelm and anxiousness, just like you are feeling, confusion of like I wouldn't move. I knew I needed to pack, but because I didn't have the certain final outcome of where am I living, I couldn't even take the first known action step, which was to get packing. So sometimes, even if you work with a coach, if you're still so frozen and you refuse to do what your coach guides you to do because you don't know for certain where that's going to lead you, then coaching is going to be ineffective. But you need to make a choice to determine you're not going to do that. You are going to take the first action your support group tells you to do, your coach tells you to do, in your prayers where you feel guided to do. You need to take the first step. Quit avoiding it and just do it. And I had to do the same thing. I had to tell myself no more. I'm not going to be paralyzed with this fear and overwhelm. And it's not a pleasant situation. It's not pleasant. And when I meditate on it and focus on it, I get myself all worked up over and over and over again. So I know it's going to work out, however it is, and whatever way it is, and whatever timing it's going to come about is going to work out. But let me tell you, if I don't pack my house, that's not going to be good. because I have tenants moving in on the 1st, and if they move in and I didn't pack, that is going to be a terrible outcome. Terrible. And the same metaphor can be used for you. If you refuse to move, by you staying and refusing to move, that is going to be horrible for you and horrible for others. Think about it. If I refuse to move and I have tenants that are anticipating and they are trusting me and expecting me to be moved out and have this home ready for them to be moved in. If I do not pack and I have all my stuff here and I don't do anything, I am not respecting them and I am now affecting their lives. I have destroyed their trust and I have inconvenienced them because I refuse to move. So, anyway, again, on a soapbox, I'm done with that. So I want you to commit. You will take that first step, and you know what that first step is. You know what it is. I know that you know what it is. So my encouragement is take the first step and trust in the process. And I'm here for you. Please email me if you have any questions. Join the Purpose Pursuit program if you feel that's a great fit for you. We are all in the same situation, similar circumstances. So you are welcome there. That is a very safe place for you to join and be a part of, where you'll get encouragement from the other members and guidance from me to hold you accountable and get you unstuck and get you thriving in work that you love. And I will stay connected with you and talk to you all next week.